Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Noisy Neighbours podcast. Sunday morning, joined by my brother Christian. Christian, how are we doing today, mate?
Not bad, bro. It was a good day yesterday, so I'm pretty buzzing. I know. Big question is, how are you after that
Yeah.
news last night? I sent it to you and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, mate, it's dire.
Yeah, I mean, this is the exact reason we're spending a Sunday morning ranting about United before we've even lost the Spurs is because the best player this season by, I would say, a distance, and let's be honest, he's not set the world alight on a global scale or even in the league, but he has been our best player.
Yeah.
AMAD Diallo is out for the season. He's done ankle ligaments in training. We've also got other injuries. We've got Mainu, Ugarte, Collier, probably the three best midfielders we've got at the club, all injured. Martinez ACL, probably our best defender, injured. And yeah, it's absolutely chronic, to be honest. I am. I think I must have said this to you 2 weeks ago. I remember I did a short where I was talking about how did we go into January and come out of it weaker based on us having one of the worst seasons in my lifetime. Well, it's the worst season in my lifetime. And look what's happened.
Yeah.
You know,
Alex, the main thing for me is like, well, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. I can't really say anything much better, but the thing is for me is you've gone into January. We all expected you to move certain players on. You even got some out that I didn't think you would, like Anthony. I'm not saying the level of these guys was ever good enough, but the point is you did weaken yourselves, and you're paying these players to play their football elsewhere, and now you are on the bones of your arse squad wise. I mean, who is coming in?
Yeah.
At this point in time, you tell me, because mate, I was looking and I'm thinking, who is even coming in for him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Apparently, Chido Obi Martin, 17-year-old, has been included
from the academy. I'm guessing
he was actually at Arsenal's academy, and he has been scoring a lot of goals. But I don't even think it's under 23. I think it might be under 21 level. Sekou Kone, a centre mid again, 17-18. Harry Amass is a left back. He has been mentioned a bit. He did play pre-season. Jack Morehouse and Elijah Harrison, sorry if I've got your name wrong there, have travelled apparently to the squad, according to this Twitter account. I just want to say good luck to those boys, and I feel very sorry that they are being brought in this scenario. It's not their fault, and if any of them get any game time today or between now and the end of the season, I really wish them well. Look, if they get on today, please just give it a good go. It's the incompetence of this club actually dates back to 2005 when the Glazers took over, which we'll get into. But even in the last 3 years and even the last 12 months, there's so many levels of incompetence at this club that has led to this point. Like you said, the squad is now, it really is now a bottom half. If people thought this wasn't a bottom half of the league squad, the available players now are legitimately 14th, 15th, and that's where we are. That's where we're probably going to finish. Could be even worse. I just want to sort of say something before we get into the present, and I am very guilty of hammering people at this club at the minute. Everybody lives in the moment a little bit, and I just want to talk about just a message to any United fans watching this. Please don't. You can be frustrated with Ineos, and last night on Twitter, wow! I mean, the outbreak on Twitter last night on Ineos was incredible, to be honest. So many tweets about Ineos around January and what happened, and I share frustrations with that. Please don't lose sight of the true evil behind this club and why we are here. And it all dates back to 2005, leveraged buyout by the Glazers. This club has declined and rotted since that day. Please, you feel free to have a go at Amorim and Ineos. I share your frustrations with both of those at the moment, and the players. Fucking hell, you can have a go at them all you want. Please don't lose sight of why Ineos are in this position. They are. I mean, behind the eight ball doesn't even cover it. We spend around £30 million every single year paying the interest of Glazer's debts that they bought this club with. it's incredible how they were even allowed to purchase this club, and we are in. And honestly,
I'm guessing it could never happen again. Have they put something in place like due diligence now that this would be impossible? Because I don't know how they got away with it.
Christian, I really just want to touch on this about the. We spoke yesterday. There was some reports coming out about the Prem might have been unsuccessful in more lawsuits with City. I don't know the details, so forgive me. I'm not following it overly closely, to be honest. City have famously got these 115 charges, and the Premier League are going head to head with them over what sounds like inflated sponsorship by the owners of the club. So effectively, you've sponsored yourself inflated amounts. You know what? I just want to say about this, and this might be unpopular with United fans, and maybe other fans as well. I'm so glad the Premier League are going all out to punish owners who care about the club to the point where they want to invest and make them the best they can be, i.e. Sheikh Mansour and Man City. But where were they in 2005 when they allowed the Glazers to sign this club who had no debt? Man United were one of the best ranked clubs in the world. We were the best team in the world. We had no debt. But £700 million loans from some random family in America who owned Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have no care about football, don't even come over to the games. That's okay. Oh, you can come and buy this club and do whatever the fucking and let it run into the ground, and fans like me have to suffer because of it. But and then Roman Abramovich, the government stepped in with that, didn't they? As soon as Russia invaded Ukraine, you have to sell Chelsea. So I don't want to fucking hear this bullshit that the Premier League and all this couldn't have done more with the Glazers. When you actually look back, just because it's 20 years ago, don't lose sight of how incompetent the Premier League and the government were around this. They allowed this to happen on their watch. Oh, but City's owners want to invest money into their club. We're going to go for them. Oh, Ukraine are being invaded by Russia, so Roman Abramovich has to sell the club.
Their priorities, mate, their priorities have and always will stink. They make no sense. You know, like you just said it yourself. I mean, I don't want to go too much into the City thing. We're obviously talking about you boys, but you are right. The amount of jobs, countless jobs, and how much they've invested in the community. But yeah, they didn't look at the Glazers thing and were like, this doesn't look too great. It doesn't look like a sustainable business model. They have ultimately destroyed you from the inside out. And not only this, right, you know my opinion, but I've not really shared it on here yet, with the buyout with the Ineos thing. And I said to you, the Qatar, was it Qatari that came in for you as well?
Yeah, Qatar were interested.
I think that was the only one that was ever going to make sense for United. And when I saw that you got bought by Jim Ratcliffe and his gang or whatever, mate, it was never going to be anything other than a disaster, because it was the best thing to ever happen for the Glazers, because now they can take a back seat, still destroy you, but take very little heat from it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like you were saying yesterday, the others will. Ultimately, Ineos are taking all the heat, and they don't even know what do they own of the club. I know they've got the sporting thing, the sporting decisions or whatever it is, but what do they own? 20% or something like that?
It's a minority stake. Yeah, I've got a theory on that, and I listened to the Talk of the Devils podcast. I listened to. There's anybody listening to this, please go and listen to it. You need to go and listen to it, Christian. It talks about the financials of this club and how shocking it really is. And in recent years, obviously they've stepped it up with the pressure from United fans. And you know what they've done? They've actually made everything worse, because they've panicked and spent money that we didn't have. They credit carded Anthony and Casemiro within a week of each other. And we are still paying for those signings. We still don't. We still owe money. It wasn't even money we had. It's incompetence at a new level. Forget whether they're good or bad, which they're both useless now. One's gone. We're paying him up to play for fucking Real Betis, and the other one we daren't play because he can't run. We are crippling. We are crippled by these signings that they did, and this is all under the Glazer ownership. Please don't lose sight of this. Ineos. Yeah, Jim Ratcliffe jumped at the chance to own 20% of Man United or whatever it is. But like you said, the Glazers, some fans are like, oh, well, we finally cracked them. They've given up 20%. They've given up football control of this club. Nah, you know the truth behind it. This is my opinion, by the way. I don't know this for a fact. This club was going into administration under the Glazer ownership. They went to market because this club is in worse financial ruin People don't even understand how bad it is. People honestly just think that Man United are fine. I'm telling you right now, they went out to the market to get investment in this club because Glazers were running this into administration, as well as Murta and Arnold and whoever else has been involved in the last 3 years. And that's why Ratcliffe has come in. But the greedy bastards didn't want to give up full control. No. We're not giving up full control because we still want our fingerprints on this club. We still want our dividends. We still want some input in Manchester United, despite how they've crippled us for 20 years now. And like you said, perfect scenario now for them. They're still majority shareholders in this club, and now they've got Ineos to face the music. You go on Twitter last night, Christian. You on the back of the AMAD Diallo news. You look who's getting all the blame. Ineos. Ineos are getting all the blame for January. Did they do well in January? No, they didn't. Is Amarim doing well? No. But don't forget the bigger picture here, please. I'm begging all you United fans here. Anybody listens to this, don't lose sight of the true evil at this club. And it starts with them, and it'll end with them till they're out the door. Ineos are £66 tickets. Not good. Please, you need to know why they're doing this. And
Alex, I was just going to say on that, the reason they are doing things like this, and the reason they are ultimately not performing at the level they would want in the transfer market and whatever else, is because ultimately they're handcuffed by what the Glazers have done. So they are trying to fix it. I'm not saying the ways they're going around it. Ultimately, they're making redundancies to like the everyday fucking employees of Man United. And it doesn't look good from the outside. The maxing the ticket prices out. But ultimately, they are doing it because they have to. Because they're in a situation where the Glazers have made it untenable, and there's no other way out other than doing these things that don't look great from the outside. And I think. Yeah, mate, honestly, I think it's a complete mess. I do, however, think, look, they don't get away completely scot-free. I think they should. Ineos have come in, and I think other teams are better at moving players than Man United are, as in actually selling them, rather than this ridiculousness that they're doing with these loaning players out. Like I said to you, Alex, do I think that Marcus Rashford is a Man United player, or is he going to ever take you to any titles? No. Right. But what you have got instead of him is absolute dog shit, and you shouldn't have been letting him go, especially when you're paying him to play for Aston Villa, who are currently better than you, and you've got worse starting up front every week. It makes no sense. So, and I do agree with all of your points, by the way, but they do take some heat on certain things. Do you know what I mean?
It's probably a good segue into actually getting into the AMAD injury and the sort of issues that we are faced with now as a club. We've still got a few months to go till the end of the season. And we aren't really, we're bottom half, we're fucking, 12 points above the relegation zone, which I expect to probably worsen over the next weeks. Whether that actually brings us into going down or not, I don't know, and I don't really care.
I was just gonna ask you on that. Where do you think? I mean, we spoke a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it was on a watch along, and you said to me, with AMAD, you said you'll probably hit around the 40-point mark. Now you've lost AMAD, you've lost Mainu for several weeks, which I read last night that I didn't even know. Ugate's out. That is 3 pivotal players and probably 3 of your best players, really. So where do you think points wise now? Do you honestly think going down is a possibility, as mental as that seems?
Probably not, just because I think that 12 points is a big amount when there's 14 games left. 13 games now because they all lost yesterday. I just think that they would have to, Leicester or Ipswich would have to win. It's probably 8 of their last 13 games. So it would, which probably isn't going to happen. But to be honest, if getting relegated got rid of the Glazers, and look, I'm not saying Ineos are the answer here. If it got rid of the Glazers and Ineos got full control of this club, I'd take it. Ineos have not been perfect, but I'm telling you right now, they are absolutely. They aren't playing with one hand tied behind the back. They're playing with 2 hands behind the back and blindfolded. That's how difficult the situation is. And, January, and I just want to touch on this, that what they should have done is, the incomings was not going to happen, right? Matthias Tell, 10 million loan deal, is not good business. Nobody can say Ineos should have done that deal. I don't care how good or bad he is, because if he's good, he's going to go back to Bayern and Bayern will keep him, and your 10 million's in the bin. if he's shit, you've wasted 10 million as well. Effectively, you're chucking 10 million at a player that isn't yours. Don't do it. And look, I'm well aware we're playing Spurs later today. We already know what's going to happen, but it doesn't change the point that 10 million.
No, you are right.
So forget the incomings. Now, what you have to do is you have to sit down with Amorim and go, look, we respect your opinion on Rashford. The Anthony stuff's a bit weird because he could at least play, and Anthony, you'd like to think he's better than the bottom 4 clubs' wingers in this league. He could actually play. Anthony would start now for AMAD Diallo. Anthony did come into this club and score 3 and 3. People forget. People think he was fucking shite from the get-go. He actually started, and people were like, okay, Anthony actually looks all right.
It's the same way he started at Betis. It's identical, isn't it?
Betis has got 2 and 2. He can obviously play football, yes. I'm well aware he's been shit for 18 months. But we do this all the time at United. It's not necessarily a true reflection on how good or bad they are at football. We don't actually know because players crumble at this club all the time. Better players than Anthony, by the way. But going back to it, they should have sat down with Amorim and gone, look, right, we respect your opinion. Anthony needs to go. Rashford needs to go. But we've still got to do our... We've still got to do our fans proud. We've got fans that travel all over the country. Fuck me. How many Reds now probably on the train to London now to go and watch fuck knows who, Casemiro and Eriksen run round in a wheelchair against fucking Tottenham? What about the Reds that are going to go to all these Europa League games or have been going to all these? And what you're saying is your arrogance and stubbornness is going to come above that. No, you sit down and you go, let's get rid of them in the summer. But what if, I can't believe this didn't happen, Christian, and I've said this about the fucking Ten Hag Mount stuff. Why did they not sit in a room in January and go, simple question, what if AMAD Diallo gets injured? Did nobody ask that question? Because we're in this position now, and look, it's fucking happened, hasn't it? Obviously it's happened and he's out for the season. Did nobody ask that question at this club?
Obviously not. I think that's the thing. But does it surprise you? Does it surprise you in knowing what they've done previously? The lack of preparation from your club has got... I tell you what, for a club the size of Man United, you are the worst run without... I know Barcelona, they would, maybe some of their fans would rival it, but I tell you what, you are miles worse run than every other club in the world. And you are one of, if not the biggest. It makes no sense. I don't know how you've been so poorly run for so long. How have people gotten away with putting you in this hole? Mate, honestly, it makes no sense to me.
You know what? You just deal with your differences and Paul Scholes refused to travel to a game in I think it was the 90s. You might have heard it on the overlap. And I think Fergie said he was on the bench and Scholes, he said, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Well, he never did with it. It was dealt with within hours. Scholesy apologised. We all made up and we got 20 years out of one of the all-time greats in centre mid.
Yeah.
You know what? This is petty. It's fucking petty, and I feel so sorry for the fans that are spending fucking thousands following this club, and the manager and the ownership are doing this sort of stubbornness where it's like we had it with Ten Hag and Sancho. Yes, the difference was we actually had reasonable forwards, so you could get rid of Sancho, and we all backed Ten Hag.
Yeah, you had some leverage.
We came 8th and won an FA Cup. We're not talking. We are 15th, Christian.
Yeah.
We could get sucked. If Ipswich go on a run, let's say, hypothetically, they win 3 out of 3, and United lose 3 out of 3, we'll be 3 points off the drop zone. That's how critical this is. Like,
here's the thing, right? So surely, as a club, this does not take experts or sporting directors. It requires someone with a brain, right? So you went into January, and your idea was, let's get rid of Marcus Rashford. I know you didn't get much, or if any, output out of Anthony. However, he still was a body in there, and he is better than what you've got, I imagine, that what you're going to have to put in there. Now, what alarms me is that you went into January, you had Rashford's goals previously, you knew he could perform at some sort of level. It just shocks me that they were like, at the end of January, you faced the possibility of not having Marcus Rashford, not having the option of Anthony off the bench, and they thought that you going in, I mean, where were you in the table when you were going into January? You must have been about 14th, right? Similar.
We've been between 13th and 14th for
there you go,
ages.
right? So they went into January. They've actively made themselves worse. I don't know what that meant for the rest of the season. What was Amorim or Ineos thinking was going to be United sealing them for the rest of the year? Are they just completely fucking writing it off? Because I tell you what, you can't do that and up the fucking ticket prices, because then that really is leaving a sour taste. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, you're right. You as a club, and this is what it comes down to. As owners of this club, minority owners in Ineos, and the manager Ruben Amorim, you have a job to do, and your job is to put out a team. So Ineos are responsible for the squad and how good or bad that is, and the facilities and stuff like that. Ruben Amorim is responsible for putting out a team that's capable of winning every game, ideally, or the best possible. They are both failing at this now, and like Ineos, could they not sit down with Ruben Amorim and go, "We get where you're coming from"? Every United fan does. But look at where we are now. This is who we've got fit in the squad, right? Garnacho, Højlund, and Xerxes as a front three right now, right? You could maybe chuck Fernandez in if he could play somewhere in that front role. Apparently, Patrick Dorgu has played there for Lecce. I mean, I'm not even including that poor lad because he's 20 years old, come from Serie A in January to this fucking shit show.
He already played him out of position in his first
already played him out of
game.
position, so he's a fucking left back. I don't know where he can play as a right tens fucking come from. But I just want to talk about Garnacho, Højlund, Xerxes. Can anybody tell me how many goals they've got combined this season in the league? I'm guessing it's around 7 between the three of them. And we are in the middle of February. And you want to talk about AMAD Diallo, most goals, most assists this season in the Prem for Man United, out for the season. Nobody thought of that. Did you not sit there and go, Ruben, we get where you're coming from, mate, but what if? Do you not play the what ifs? Because we have no one now. And I said to you, we could lose 14 out of 14 now. Because we've not got Southampton at home. We've already had that game and got away with that one. We could lose every game now to the end of the season. Maybe have we got Leicester at home? No, I don't think we. Maybe we've got Leicester at home. You might win that. We could lose the rest.
Do you think it is more of an Amorim thing that he was like, Rashford's not playing for this club again? Or do you think Ineos were aligned with it and they were happy to get him out the door?
I think that obviously around the early December, late November time, there was talks of him out partying again, before a game, after a game, whatever. I think Amorim and Ineos have sat down to go together and going, that's it now. One too many times with this guy, and he was fucking shit as well.
No, right. I actually agree. I do agree with it. It's just sometimes you've got to take it on the chin, and you've got to go, right, yeah, we do want him out. He's not at the level of Man United, and his attitude fucking stinks. However, the state of this squad is in disrepute. And if we get rid of him and we get just one injury, just one, which you obviously were going to, from now till the end of the season, we are fucked. Obviously, they did not play the what-if game because now you find yourself in this predicament and they're going to put in a young lad or they're going to put Dorgu up front, which is just massively unfair on him because you already know he's going to drop stinkers in that position and everyone's going to get on his back. So that's, I mean, what sort of... A new signing's coming in and he's already going to be getting fucking heat because you're piling him up front. And he's a fucking left back.
This is the thing that they were so focused that with their hatred towards Rashford, they actually forgot an angle they could have gone is force Garnacho out this club and reinvest 100 million in January.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Where was the passion behind that? Oh, but you took the easy route with that, didn't you, Sir Jim Ratcliffe?
To appease the masses, mate.
Because everyone's sick of Rashford, so we'll boot him out the door. Everyone's going to cheer us on with that. But we haven't got the competence to sell Garnacho and reinvest a load of money in January to try and save the season, maybe go on a cup run and fucking stay in the Premier League. And now it's like you said, we're down to 3 forwards who can't buy a goal between them, and all 3 of them are pretty shit. Let's be just call a spade a spade. I don't know what the fuck we are going to get today from them 3.
And they've made a mess of the getting Rashford out the door situation. I thought United are going to get some money for him. I found it inconceivable that he would end up on loan and you're paying him to play elsewhere. And not only that, Alex, if you had maybe got him out the door on loan to Villa and there was a buy obligation for 40 million, I'd go, all right, you know, you are writing off the season. It's not great, but at least you are going to get a windfall in the summer and you can move to reinvest it. You're not even guaranteed that. They've got Asensio on loan, and I guess they're only going to sign one of Rashford or Asensio, maybe not even either of them.
He could come back.
So if you end up, say Rashford doesn't get on the pitch much, which he isn't currently, if he doesn't get on the pitch much, you end up with him back. his value is not going to be 40 anymore, so you're going to get even less than that, and who the fuck is going to touch him?
Yeah, cutting nose off to spite the face. That's what this club is doing and
It's a
continuing
mess.
to do. I just want to talk about, just before we wrap it up, I just want to mention the outgoings that we've had up front and why we are as atrocious as we are up there, and the incomings.
Yeah.
The day that Ralph Rangnick left this club, these are the outgoings, just off the top of my head. If I miss any, I'm sorry, but I'm just sort of, trying to summarise here. Cavani, Ronaldo, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, Sancho. 6 players. Anthony. 7 forwards have gone from this club. Some of them very good players at times in their own right.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the incomings? Anthony's in and out, so we'll leave him off. Xerxes, Højlund, Garnacho promoted. AMAD was actually Ollie, so you can't even include that. There you go. End
It's
of
just
list.
not good enough.
End of list. Ronaldo, Cavani, Martial, Rashford out. Højlund, Xerxes, Garnacho in. And you want to wonder why. You want to wonder why we're fucking useless. Because certain players got hounded out of this club for being lazy or not good enough. I'm not going to get into mentioning names, but you know who I'm on about. And we're left now with the hard workers, the ones who do cardio every weekend but can't control the football. Brilliant.
Alex, here's the thing. I just wanted to say one thing on this, right? So, with the Garnacho situation, so Ruben Amorim he just had his heart set on getting Rashford out of the club, which is fair enough for the reasons he gave. However, he had the same problem, which people have sort of glossed over, with Garnacho, right? And maybe, Garnacho must have turned it around, maybe he improved or started turning up to training on time or whatever the fuck was going on with him. However, you got a sizable offer in, and you also had another club sniffing round, and you could have probably maxed that bid. You probably could have got 50 million out of Napoli. I just find it strange that you had nothing on the table for Rashford. You've gone to pay him to fuck off and go elsewhere. He didn't want Garnacho a couple of weeks before, so why didn't you get him out the door? Because obviously Amorim wasn't happy with him. No. So I just find it weird that you've had this massive U-turn on Garnacho. And do you know what the only conclusion anyone with a brain can come to is that United do what they always do and seem to do their shopping off fucking Twitter, like you told me.
Yeah.
That's all they do, and they appease to the masses. I think they watch all the fucking fan channels, and they're like, oh, what? Goldbridge, he likes that, and what, all his fans agree with it? Fine, we'll do that. It's fucking mental, and I honestly think that's how they run.
I wish they watched our channel.
Well, mate, I know. Hopefully we get it big enough and you can sort some problems out.
Oh, I'm just, mate, it winds me up. I had it with Garnacho the other week where I was talking about, I'm going to, shout out Chris Richards, Palace's fucking right back, who pocketed him.
He's a bloody mate of yours, him.
And I'm going to have to sit here now and watch it. I've not even got AMAD to cheer me up now. I've got these 3 fucking duck eggs up front who've got fucking 7 goals between them and can't control the ball, and the other one just runs into fucking people at right back. Sick of it, mate. Rashford and Anthony, just to summarise on this, Christian, Rashford and Anthony, we are paying for them to play for other clubs, a percentage loan fee. And Sancho, as much as it pains me to say it, those 3 will probably be starting for us. All 3 of them, you could argue. That could be our starting front 3. We're paying for them to pay for other clubs while we host Garnacho, Højlund. I mean, is it going to be Patrick Dorgu, right wing, or Xerxes, right wing? Seriously, who is going to play that AMAD position, Christian?
I mean, like you said, I fully back you what you just said.
Well,
even the Anthony, they've not even got an obligation off Betis either, so he could be being sent back. I mean, he has actually started well, so if he keeps it up, maybe you'll be able to sell him, but they won't be able to pay you much. So even that's not looking great. You've not even got that to look forward to. Mate, honestly, we've gone through this. There is one thing I wanted to ask you today, though, I'm saying a lighter note. I mean, it might not be lighter at about 5:30 tonight. But what's your prediction? What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's how depressing it is. I don't even know, really. We are going out today with the family to watch it. I might just play in the beer garden with the kids, play footy with them. I think. Well, we're going to lose. We're going to lose, Christian, because.
Oh, they're shit though. They are shocking, man.
The last time we saw Eriksen, Casemiro, and Bruno. But just bear in mind that idiot Ten Hag wanted rid of that midfield 2 years ago. Ten Hag hasn't got a football brain cell in his fucking head, and even he realised that.
I know.
Unfortunately, do you remember when Ugarte and Mainoo were out over Christmas and Amorim gave it a whirl against Newcastle and we could have been 5-0 down at half time? Spurs are actually, I don't know what's going on with them, but if they've got some players back, which it looks like they have, which is great, look, it could be anything. I don't know, mate, because who's going to...
Who's going to score for Man United? Like, I knew that's what you were going to say, so...
It's going to be 3-4-3, obviously, because God forbid he'll fucking change it. So this is what the team's going to be. I'll forget the back three. I don't care who's there. Diallo, Casemiro, Eriksen. Oh, sorry. Diallo, Casemiro, Fernandes, and Dorgu. Eriksen, Højlund, Garnacho. That's the team. You think that's going to beat Tottenham away? I don't care who they're fucking wheeling out to play. Because I think they've got Maddison back, haven't they? And Doggy. I think Vicario's back. Van der Ven might be. So we're going to get fucking twatted. Probably 4-1. They might get a consolation. But...
Who's getting the one?
You
look around that United squad and the United, the possible starting.
Yeah. I should have said this before when we were talking about the Glazers and people... I am guilty of it sometimes, and I was speaking to our cousin Patrick last night when this news broke, and Patrick made a great point, and I just want to read it out to people. They think, well, you've spent money, you've done this, you've done that. Do you know what the Glazers have been doing since 2013, really? Because they severely let it rot post-Ronaldo Tevez. I mean, that 4-year span was just a fucking disgrace that they were handing absolute shite to Fergie and somehow getting away with it. Patrick said, it's a failure at every level in every department. It's like a boat full of holes. They've tried stuffing cash in some, but it's got soggy. and anybody knows Patrick knows
that is a wonderful analogy.
He's got away with words, but he couldn't have summarised it any better for me, to be honest. And
mate, yeah.
I just thought if we're getting on today, and shout out Patrick if he's listening, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and everybody needs to maintain sight of the true evil behind this club and where the blame lies. And even just before we finish, just on Amorim, you can have your frustrations on him. I've got my frustrations on him. Is he very stubborn? Yes. Is 3-4-3 shit? Maybe. Don't forget, he's picking up 600 mil of shite that Erik Ten Hag begged for in this club. So don't lose sight of that either. Okay, Ten Hag's not on a level with the Glazers, but I'm just saying the same principle applies. Don't just batter Ineos and Amorim. Remember what has gone on at this club. 2005 Glazers, 2022 Ten Hag. That's why we are as in the mess we're in right now. Plus a bit of stubbornness in the last month that we've been through. Anyway, Christian, thanks for joining us on this Sunday morning. Anybody watching the game, I really hope we win somehow, or it's actually competent. And shout out for the fucking away fans going down there to watch God knows who today. And any academy players playing today, those boys that I listed earlier, good luck to all of you. I really hope that if you get on, you do well, and you do, I just have sympathy for you, really.
Mate, at the end of the day, if they try their hardest, which is the very least they could do, then that's more than certain other Man United players have been doing. So, you know what I mean?
That's
they
it.
can't go wrong,
you could be sat at home playing Call of Duty with fucking Luke Shaw and Mason Mount. Where the fuck is he, by the way, Mason Mount? He hurt himself in the fucking Manchester derby first week of December. Where the fuck is he?
This is it. No one. The worst thing for him is no one even cares. No one's like when is Mason Mount coming back? Who gives a shit?
Well, you get off your fucking... Because 17-year-olds now are probably getting sent to the slaughter, and trolls on Twitter are going to be all over them today if they play shit. And you're sat at home on 200 grand a week with your fucking calves that are made of fucking cheese strings. Get on the pitch! You useless twat. Another fucking 60 mil. God, don't get me started on that signing.
Yeah, mate. If I get you started on that, that's another 10 Hag segment. Jesus.
Even if we go on to win the treble in the future, I'm never letting that go.
Definitely.
Idiot. Thanks, Christian. Listen, anyway,
enjoy the game, mate, if you can.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Catch us on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Raiders.